It must be Friday. Welcome to Eye on Franchising. I'm your host, Lance Graulich, and we got this guy today. This little puffer fish. And the head puffer fish himself,
Up next,
Who do you have?
Mark.
How many guys have you gone through?
I will never clean my own pool. And
That's
here's the
it,
reality. I have to tell you.
That's one of the game changers and one of the industry pain points as well is people, right? Like,
I'm just fascinated by where this conversation just went. This episode's sponsored by SEO Samba. Empower your franchise with predictable results and AI-driven marketing. Pufferfish is what you are. Mark Amery, founder and CEO of Puddle Pools. Welcome, Mark.
that's it. Thanks for having me, Lance.
I love the fun that you have with your brand, with your little pufferfish that apparently is indigenous to Canada, which is where you're from.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know where he's from, but yeah, it's I'm from Vancouver actually. Our whole leadership team is, well, not the whole team, but the majority of the team is in Canada. Yes.
Very cool. Well, I just did my first Puddle Pools deal. Zach and Bella, congratulations. They're not even necessarily going to be full-time owners, which we'll talk about that in a second. But look, this isn't your first rodeo, Mark. You've been responsible for other brands. Talk a little bit about that and why you like the heck out of franchising so much.
Sure. Yeah, great question. Why do I love franchising? I think it's the space that you kind of grow. Well, I grew into it. This we talk about. It's not our first rodeo with Puddle. Myself, when I say myself, it's myself and the team. Like, we've had the same leadership team for over 13 years, and we've had 4 home service brands, so we're really, really comfortable in the space. Like, our team includes our own marketing team, support, SEO, PPC, meta. Like, so that entire field is super important. But how did I grow into franchising? It was the first business I had. I started work when I was 13. I'm kind of young. I had my own place. I was out when I was 15, and I started my own business when I was 19. So then it kind of grew from there. I exited that one when I was 25, 26, and then we started our first franchise. I just really love the space. I went to a conference to listen in on business owners, and there was a gentleman, Jim Treliving, who owns a whole bunch of Boston pizzas. He's kind of like the king of franchising in Canada. So it really resonated with me, just how he was talking, what he was talking. It was just such a cool way to grow. Like having a whole bunch of business owners. So we went into that field, and the rest is history, man. And that's about it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So a lot of people listening that are aspiring entrepreneurs, they're looking at their first business. They might do an acquisition or at least try, and they're looking at franchises. Why Puddle? Because the first thing I think to myself, and a lot of the audience, I could start my own pool cleaning company. Why do I need a franchise?
Yeah, great point. Wow, that question comes up all the time. And I think this is just maybe, not just Puddle, but maybe any franchise, I would think, is you couldn't catch us. There's just no way any franchise. The systems that are, you can't. And we had somebody ask this on a Discovery Day maybe a month ago. And Zach might have been in on that call, because that would have been around that same time where they said, why wouldn't I just go buy a route and start my own and do a ground and pound kind of thing? And it was actually Ryan from our marketing team kind of chatted, and he said, I would actually feel sorry for you. We have 5 people working all day, every day, like 3 times a day. They work 9, 12, and 3 at different points where they're on everybody's individual campaigns and territories. When you have that many people working on your location alone to build the SEO, the PPC, the ranking, even through social, you can't do it. There's no way. So you would be dead in the water, or we will go through you. So it's I think that would be, and this operating procedures, the what ifs, the hard work's already been done. I think that's any franchise, right? I would love to see them try, but
So take a guess. What do you think the average independent pool cleaning and maintenance company, non-franchise, what do you think they do in revenue? They're lucky to do 200,000, 250, 250,000 in revenue.
average truck is like 150. Like, I'm sure certain areas be a little more, a little less. 150K ish to 200
Yeah.
ish. That would
So
be kind of max. like one
Yeah,
team.
so the average independent owner, not necessarily someone building an empire with Puddle. And I'll tell you,
Oh,
you know, I clean my own pool. You know that?
right. Really? I have to
No,
change that up, Lance.
no,
I
no,
was going to
hell
say that.
no.
No.
Mark,
Who do you have?
Mark,
How many guys have you
I
gone through?
will, I will never clean my own pool. And
That's
here's
it.
the
Well,
reality. I have to tell you. Here's a
yes.
plug for Puddle. I
There we
can't
go.
wait till a Puddle franchisee gets to my part of Las Vegas because
Yeah.
I love that there's systems. There's people telling you what was wrong with your pool, and we put chemicals in the pool, and we're going to let you know when we're coming. Put your dogs away, that type of thing. We're on our seventh freaking pool company, and
Yeah.
every one of them looks like a crackhead that comes to my backyard. And I don't know what,
Yeah.
I look at my wife, I go, what the heck? And she's like, well, they were recommended by somebody. I was like, this is why we need a great franchise pool
Yeah.
company. So let's
Welcome
talk
to the
about
pool world.
numbers. You
Yep.
actually had a franchisee, it's in the item 19,
Yeah.
did 700,000 plus in revenue with a
year
net
one.
over $200,000, and the investment's only 98 grand for a territory.
Yeah,
So-
that's year one. That's it's not
Crazy.
uncommon. And yeah, to answer your question prior, like what is the average truck do? That would be someone with systems and like ourselves. That's kind of what we want to being able to grow and scale on those numbers. But it would be much lower than that for an independent one poler they called them, or chucking a truck or whatever. That is. But
One polar.
They call them single polars or one polars, and yeah, and you're right. It can be challenging to find the right people because there's three things: people, price, and communication. That's the three pain points in pool service. It's either the people, like you said, the price. There you say, Lance, we're going to come. It's going to be X amount per month, and then you also get a bill for chemicals, for this, for that, and you get nickeled and dimed, and you don't know. Like I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like be told it's one amount and then I get all these different bills. And the third is the communication, really, really important. So they know when the tech's coming, when they've arrived, what was done, what chemicals were put in. There's videos, pictures, before and after, time stamped in, time stamped out, all in real time, and it go to as many people. So it's just like that little thing. It's huge. Like the backyard is your palace. That's where people's kids play. That's where. So you got to make sure you got your A game on. You can't have some, like you say, some crackhead or something. I don't want to be mean to people in the industry, but you got to make sure you have the right people going into the yard and the right systems, or else I wouldn't like that. That's it's So
And it's the same thing with people in any business. I own restaurants. I had franchise restaurants, a lot of those, non-franchise restaurants. You don't want some, I hate to say crackhead, your people need to be presentable. They need to have clean fingernails. It's crazy. But what is the secret to your hiring as far as you have a new franchisee in Vegas on the other side of town? So
Right, yeah.
what does that support look like to make sure he or she gets the right people?
that's the one of the game changers and one of the industry pain points as well is people, right? Like when you have people that flop around from pool company to pool company to pool company, something's got to break. So we actually pull from the homes, from like restaurants, coffee shops, more of that customer relations type of field that are used to speaking to people face to face. Also used to working on wage plus tips or incentive bonuses. So we take care of our employees. They're probably more taken care of than anybody. They're the ground game, the ground field. Homeowner doesn't know Lance. They don't know Mark. They know Susie the technician, right? So we have to make sure Susie the technician is well equipped, well dressed, educated, and knows what they're doing. So the amount of support for the tech and their systems to onboard for us, it's 6 days. That's from zero to hero. We have our own Puddle Power. That's our own app. That's what drives and runs the business, the training, not as only on cleaning the pools and the maintenance and whatnot. That's half of they learn, but the other half is the growth, the sales, reviews, all of that really shows value. And why would the technician spend more time to go get more clients? It's through incentive bonuses. So there's incentives for everything. For some of our techs probably make more than, I don't want to say the owners, I don't know what they make, but they make a lot of money. And two of our highest performing technicians last year were women from QSR. So, and they're killer. And I don't know, I have an idea what they make, and it's because you want to give them all those tools. I want them to make $1 million a week. Why not, right? So if we can equip them with all those tools and educate them, so it goes a long way,
I'm just fascinated by that, where this conversation just went, because people in the QSR space, quick service restaurants, whether, to be outside, enjoying the fresh weather, not trapped inside a hot kitchen where you're slipping on grease, burning your hand on French fries or a grill or
Yeah.
whatever it might be. What
Yeah.
a freaking difference in your life. And you don't have people in your face on a regular basis or other employees.
Yeah, it's a pretty good gig. And that says it, like some of them list. It says you have to be willing to work outside in the sun, listen to music. You probably gonna have to wear flip flops. You'll be around a pool all day. That's a pretty hard. I'll take the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and to give them those abilities that you can make as much money as you want. There's no ceiling. So
Yeah.
that's
Remember this? Remember the movie Just Go With It with Adam Sandler, Jennifer
yeah.
Aniston?
Yeah, yeah.
And-
I know
and
where you're going.
She, she worked for him, and
Yes.
he wasn't really that attracted at that point. And then all of a
Yes.
sudden they go swimming, and she takes
Yeah.
off her t-shirt and has
Yes.
this tiny bikini, and he looks at her. He's like, "You got this sneaky hot body. What the heck?" So you
Yeah.
have this sneaky hot franchise, and let me tell you
thought you were gonna
why
say
I
one.
call that, why I call that out. So
Yep.
Zach started the process with me looking at franchise. He looked at senior home care, really liked that. A
Yeah.
couple of brands. He looked at some home service brands as well. What he loved about Puddle is that I know he loved the culture, and we'll get Zach and Bella on a future episode as they get rolling because
There
they
you go.
literally just signed.
Yeah.
But they love that they can be semi-absentee or part-time owners. They can just hire their people, and they're not in the business cleaning the pools themselves. I know you do have owners that might start off that way, but that's not what their focus is going to be. But they love the culture. They loved your team. They loved all the proprietary systems and technology. This is a
Yeah.
business, and there's a reason that the average one polar is doing barely $100,000, and
Yeah.
you're building a business that can be a multi-million-dollar business. So, talk
That's
a little
it.
bit about what else is coming in that proprietary Mark Amery mechanism of the puffer fish known as Puddle Pools.
What else is coming down the line? Yeah, it's so. And again, it's not me. I'm just the cheerleader, right? It's the team. I'm not the marketing guy, right? But our team is killer, and it's probably that's what really attracts a lot of our folks is that you got to be ahead of the game, right? Like I'll take for instance, if you're in your bathroom and you have maybe in your sink and underneath that weird pipe that goes in, maybe that breaks or something, water's going everywhere. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Call a plumber.
And where would you find them?
I'd probably Google it.
Google it. Yep, I would Google it or chat.
Or ask
I
a
would
friend, but Google
Or
it.
ask a friend. But if it's water's coming, I'm going to Google it or I'm going to chat. That's the space you have to be prime time in. Like that, I would go to my phone and say plumber near me. If we are not ranking there, if we're not number one organically, PPC sponsorship, if we're not showing up on the map, if we're not, our team is working towards even that Chat GPT world. So that's where we're marketing towards that as well, because that's what. So where is that going? It's those types of things. And again, it sure shit isn't me. It's Ryan, Tyler. That whole team there. We have developing programs that allow us to pull. We can take an area and we can actually see who has a pool, who has a hot tub. They can section it into a hotel, commercial, and then go down as far as get contact list and names and numbers all throughout our app. So all those new things are coming. Our call center being able to, it can talk 290 languages. You're not talking to AI. They're not talking to a robot, or they're getting a real person, but they can reply. If you were talking Latin to me, it would tell me what to put. If I wanted to hit reply, of course it would reply, and then we could have a conversation. So, and all of that is designed towards make the sale. Not make the sale, but close. What does that customer need to hear to satisfy their question? Because it's a very warm industry. If you don't have a pool, you're not going to be calling Puddle unless you want one put in. But if you do call it, so the close rate's a little higher. You know what I mean? So it's easier for our team to, and I hate using the word close, but more of help them and assist the problem. If Lance says my pool, my pump popped or XYZ happened, we can give you that answer. And would you like to move forward? So just all those little things, and having all of our franchise partners involved at all times. Like, was Zach asked to have something done on our app? There's a little button there. There's probably 10, 15 things that come through a day. Some of the ideas are wild and crazy, but some stick, right? Maybe 1 or 2 weeks stick because it's ours and our CRM and our app. We can build off that. So anyways,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
rambling.
awesome.
I'm quiet now.
Yeah. Look, you got a lot going on. So what's the future plan here? Dominate the U.S.?
Yeah, it was so. the Puddle is our big one, right? Exiting all the other brands to come to the U.S. from Canada. It's tricky. It takes time to come from Canada to the U.S., right? It's not just the legals and paperwork, all that fun stuff. But as far as we came into the U.S. Middle of last year, so Q2 or 3, and we're kind of in there now for a year. So we are at 81 territories now. So it's we came in at 39. We're scaling nicely, but it's what is our goal is, I think our max is probably around 400, and then we are completing with Australia, so we're going to be starting that venture starting of 20. Takes about 3 months. Yeah, takes about that. So it's very comparable to there's a couple of big players over there, so we're coming for you, baby. Look out.
That's absolutely awesome. When it comes to the individual that you're looking for, the franchisee or franchisees,
Yes.
what qualities do they need? When what are you looking for in someone? Because look, for those listening, there are people that think that when you get into a franchise, it's a one-way street. You, the potential franchisee, gets to pick. Franchising is a two-way street. You're going to say no to people, probably more often than most people know. So what are the qualities you're looking for in that perfect franchisee for you?
Great point, and there is a lot of no's, right, or not a good fit, and it's not it's just you got to be picky, and I've learned that over the years. You have to be picky. It's not just somebody with a check that means nothing. So it's what do we look for? Number one is they can't be afraid to scale. This is not owner-operator model. Nothing wrong with that. It's not I'm retired, I want to clean some pools. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's just not this, because it wouldn't work. Second is team. You have to be able to build a team or want to build a team or think big picture, right? That's the two. And the third is you got to be able to shake a hand. Even though you got to build relationships. This is home service. The residential world, yes. The commercial world is where that's what takes us through, like what happens in the off season or the winter, right? Is we deal in the commercial. That's our heavy space. That's our differentiator. Their service daily. And you got to build those relationships with property managers, realtors, that world. So you can't be too much of a shy guy. So.
I love that you threw that out there. The two big points you just made, and you mentioned earlier as well. You do B2B. A lot of people looking at franchises that are focused on B2B. Clearly, you do residential as well. But here's the other point that you mentioned. There's a lot of people out there that are thinking, well, I'm in the middle of Ohio, pool service and maintenance. That's not so good over here. I don't need that. Well, Mark, you're from Canada.
It usually helps. Yeah, that helps.
So talk about that seasonality. Isn't that something that helps the predictability with pool startups, pool shutdowns? I would think that's actually great in some instances.
It is. When you look at the big picture, and that's where we're thinking that exec model, the year, the quarter to quarter, or annual, whatever it may be, instead of that day to day, week to week. We have a lot of our locations that experience that 4 seasons. The revenue is higher because, yes, you get the openings, the closings, and all that fun stuff in between, but they also have the commercial. Like when you have indoor, and you think if you live in an apartment or condo or shared, whatever it may be, when you have your indoor pool or a hot tub, that has to be serviced daily. And that doesn't stop in November. It's all the time. If there's a water feature inside a mall or plaza. So they get all of that higher item, openings, closing, the higher ticket, as well as the regular service tends to be higher. And yes, being in Canada, and we are actually sold out in Canada now. We just closed our last one in Nanaimo, so it does help when people, I want to talk to somebody, sure, here's 25 people you can talk to, and they will tell you validation. That's one thing we push. Really strong in validation. Talk to everybody. How is it? Our job is to make the franchise partners happy. I've learned that over time. We work for them. That's what it is. So if they're not happy, then we're not going to be happy. So let's make them happy.
That's it. I love that. So share with us, as we wrap, one bit of wisdom for aspiring first-time entrepreneurs listening to this. What's one bit of advice you have?
Due diligence. Talk to other franchise partners. Don't get sidetracked by the shiny stuff, right? You do your due, and I'm not saying Puddle might not be for you, right? You may go and go, oh, these guys suck. I don't like these guys at all. Great, no worries, right? It's you know what I mean? But do the due diligence, and you don't want to be peppered with superstars. You want to say, oh, you can talk to these 3 people. They're great. You want to talk to high, mid, and low performers. And not so much why is, and who do you resonate, I think who do you resonate best with? And if you're resonating best with a low performer, that's probably not for you. If you're resonating high with the I'd like to do it that way, that sounds like me, that's probably a good match. So
Awesome.
that's what I've learned. Yeah, man.
Mark, I appreciate that. That's a perfect place to leave it. Mark Amery, head puffer fish,
Head pool
founder,
boy. Yeah.
CEO, one polar himself. Now he's a multipolar.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark,
Head
for
pool
being
boy
here.
That's it. Well, thanks for having me, man.
Talk to you soon.
If you're ready to talk about franchise opportunities, hit the link below to schedule a call. My services are free, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.